Israel says that it was targeting Hezbollah positions across Lebanon. This, of course, comes after Iran-backed group Hezbollah launched missiles and drones toward Israel overnight. Was it a sound? Was that an explosion? But we'll figure out. We just heard some explosion, and we are going to find out. Explosions in Dahieh. So our camera, I think, was able to capture those explosions in Dahieh. We were just recording a report here in Beirut, and we just heard an explosion that's been captured on camera. So that's what's been happening. We have been listening to sounds of explosions since last night. We woke up. We all here in Beirut and across southern Lebanon woke up to the sound of powerful explosions, blasts that we now know were Israeli missiles striking targets across Lebanon. At least 149 people have received injuries and 31 people have been killed here in Lebanon. The conflict, which began as direct confrontation between the United States, Israel and Iran, is now widening, with Lebanon now emerging as its latest and most volatile fronts. Here's what happened. Israel says that it was targeting Hezbollah positions all across Lebanon. This, of course, follows after Iran-backed group Hezbollah launched missiles and drones toward Israel overnight, describing it as retaliation for the killing of Iran's supreme leader. Even as we speak, people are fleeing Beirut and southern parts of Lebanon amid Israeli strikes. The Israeli military had asked people in nearly 50 villages in eastern and southern Lebanon to evacuate ahead of possible retaliatory strikes. Roads in southern Lebanon and those coming out of Beirut suburbs remain gridlocked on Monday as people fled. Israel says that fighting Hezbollah would take many more days, adding that when responding to a possible question about ground invasion, it said that all options are on the table, adding that Hezbollah did a very big mistake and that it would pay a very big price. Israel last week had issued indirect warnings to Lebanon, saying that if Hezbollah attacked Israel, then Israel would hit Lebanon hard, including Lebanon's airport and other key civilian infrastructure. That warning is unfolding in real time. Economically, there's a lot of bad news coming in. Stock markets are in red. Crude oil prices are soaring. And for instance, Brent crude jumped as high as 13%, reaching $82 a barrel, its 14-month high. But the economic impact is not only limited to energy markets. Countries which depend heavily on imported crude, such as China and India, are bracing for bigger oil bills that could, in a way, strain trade balances and push up inflation. Because here's how economics of it works. When crude oil prices go up, fuel costs also eventually follow. And when that happens, transportation becomes costlier, which eventually, what does that mean? It means that all the essentials, daily essentials that you and I consume would in a way become very, very costly. And when that stays for a longer period of time, it can really dampen spending and slow down growth. Eventually, when sustained high oil prices continue and this cost and high prices continue for even daily essentials, that can put a real pressure on household budgets and make economic decisions tougher for governments and central banks worldwide. Especially if you look at Strait of Hormuz, a third of seaborne oil exports and nearly 20% of liquid natural gas exports pass through Strait of Hormuz. So its prolonged closure, in a way, could tip the global economy into recession. So the conflict is widening, the region is on edge, and for people here in Lebanon, uncertainty hangs heavy in the air, tensions are rising by the hour, and many fear that the worst may still lie ahead. For South Iran Network, I am Saahil Menghani.